Welcome, welcome. All right, looks like we have audio. I'm going to go through some of my watch list today. If you are not following me, you watch now or in the replay. If you're not following, I am on Letterboxd D, which I highly encourage you to get a Letterboxd account if you don't have one, where you can log movies you're watching or have watched. It's a very helpful resource for helping, just kind of gather films you either have seen or want to see. And so I'm going to go through here on my Letterboxd watch list and look at some stuff. Let's see what's popular right now. This is not on my watch list, I don't think. Hail Mary is popular right now. Science teacher wakes up in a spaceship light years from home with no recollection of how he got there. Okay. Probably not too interested in that. All right. Watch list. So I have some weird stuff on here. Some stuff that surprises me. Sometimes I have really artsy stuff on here, and sometimes I just have like random junk or films I find to be interesting. Just something I might even like turn on and see if I like it, Don't even necessarily have to continue to watch it. But going through here, I should have a pretty long watch list, as most of us do. I try to keep this to stuff I genuinely think I'll watch. I couldn't get into Starman, so I'm going to remove that. Let's see what some of the big hits are here. All right. I will sometimes put something on my watch list and forget why it's even on there. This is something I found on someone else's watch list that looked interesting to me. Entranced Earth. El Dorado, a fictitious country in America, is sparkling with the internal struggle for political power. A journalist opposes two candidates, a pseudo-populist and a conservative. He's torn between the madness of the elite and the blind submission of the masses. This sounds kind of interesting. Could potentially be not interesting at all. Hard to say. All right, next up. I don't recognize this director. This is one I've had on my list for a really long time. Nope, it's not this anyway. Wings. This is different, I think, than the Wings. I think there's one from the 20s. Former fighter pilot turned provincial schoolmistress struggles to adapt to peacetime, having internalized military ideals of service and obedience. Just a few actors I don't recognize. I have no idea why this is on my list. This must have been on somebody else's list. But the fun thing about Letterboxd D is you can just kind of go through and find some different ideas from other people's list. All right, stuff that I'm going to go through stuff that maybe is like Rochefort. I'm going to go through some stuff that people may not know about. Jacques Tourneur. Stars in My Crown. I recently added this and kind of want to get a copy of it because I usually try to get a copy of Westerns that have certain names. I think this is the same director of Wichita with Joe McCrea. He was fine in a number of Westerns. An orphan man recalls his upbringing with his aunt and her husband, the parson, in a small Western town during Reconstruction. That struck me as very interesting. That Dean Stockwell looks like a different Dean Stockwell, doesn't it? Surely it's not the... No, that must be him when he's younger. Wow. Okay. That's got to just be a younger Dean Stockwell. Interesting. Yeah, he would have had to have been like a kid there, right? Huh. All right. It's amazing the stuff he was in. Okay. Swamp Water. A hunter happens upon a fugitive and his daughter living in a Georgia swamp. He falls in love with the girl and then persuades this fugitive to return to town. Dana Andrews, Walter Houston. This was the first, or I'm wanting to say the first American movie that Jean Renoir did. That's why I've got on my list. Ann Baxter. Surely this movie has to be at least watchable. Walter Brennan, 1941. There's a cool looking poster on Letterboxd. You know, if you get the like the paid versions, you can change posters, but I actually like the one that they have on the default. Sometimes after I watch a film, I'll go and I'll change the poster. I like it. Kind of a fun thing to do. Other stuff people may not have heard of. Let's see. Asylum. This actually looks good to me. This film. A young psychiatrist applies for a job in a mental asylum and has to pass a test by interviewing a few patients. I talked about not liking Shot Corridor on the channel, but so I guess, like, does it land as a horror movie, right? This idea. I'm not sure. But it does have Peter Cushing, who's been in a number of things, right? He was Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars. So there's something interesting about that. Mystery Train. This is on Roger Ebert's Great Movies list. In Memphis, Tennessee, over the course of a single night, this hotel is visited by a Japanese couple traveling in search of the roots of rock, an Italian woman in mourning who stumbles upon a fleeing charlatan girl, and a comical trio of accidental thieves looking for a place to hide. And this was on Roger Ebert's Great Movies list, so I'm wanting to see it as soon as I get the right, a copy of it. I found a copy the other day of something I meant to add, which I'm sure is probably already on my list. But I found a $2. Yeah, it is on my watch list. I did find the other day a $2 copy of an Arrow Academy DVD of this thrifting. It was really cool because I think it's usually like 20 plus on eBay. A filmmaker recalling his childhood, and he falls in love with movies, and then creates a friendship with the projectionist who directed this. I don't know this director, but so hopefully I'll be able to do a video on that. All right, a few more hits off the watch list here that were kind of strange. Let's see. I don't know how good this Frankenstein's going to be. I suspect it's not going to be that great, but probably okay. Not a long time ago, a few years ago, I showed the James Whale Frankenstein to some seniors in English, and they actually liked it. A lot of them did. I expected no one at all to like it, but they did. They liked it. Some of them told me they really liked it, so I guess they did. The General Line. Why is this on here? What is this? Oh, this is a Sergei Eisenstein film with a different director as well. That's why this is on here. Okay. All right. Something interesting on here. This is one that not everybody probably has heard of that was on my list. I don't remember where this came from. Slums of Osaka, what does he recommend? Various marginalized misfits have their own interpretations of love, completely alienated from the outside world. They commit perversions, violence, and cannibalism. That's described as grim, transgressive, dreary. Yeah, I probably like that. Some of this, is just like stuff that pretty much it's more mainstream now. This is not, though. I'm interested to get a copy of this at the right time. I'd never heard of this, but this is a John Ford film, Steamboat Round the Bend. So those of you that like John Ford like I do, I might be going through Louisiana in a few days, depending on how we're going to Texas from Virginia, and depending on how we have to come back, we might go through this way. But a Louisiana con man enters his steamboat into a winner-take-all race with a rival while trying to find a witness to free his nephew about to be hanged for murder. This is supposed to be real silly, but I think it looks somewhat appealing. Well, John Ford action. Let's see. Repentance. What is this? The day after his funeral, the corpse of the mayor of a small Georgian town turns up in his son's garden. All right. Is secretly reburied. Although it's secretly reburied, the corpse keeps returning until the police capture the local woman who is responsible. This woman says that Varlam should never be laid to rest since his Stalin-like reign of terror led to the disappearance of her family and friends. What in the world, man? I don't remember this. Some of the stuff I just don't even remember putting on here. Like this is one of the ones that's just rated great by Letterboxd, so I guess I'll watch it. Bill struggles to put his together his shattered psyche. Never watched that before. What else we have here? Out of stuff that people may not have heard of. What is this? Uthon. This is a color film. It adapts a lesser-known Cornell tragedy. Some kind of classical costume film. I don't actually remember putting that on there. I don't even know what the unit. Okay, what's one that I remember putting on here? There's the other wings I was talking about. Now, this was one that I'm excited to see. That I have heard much good things about. A semi-biographical account of an incident in the director's life in which he stabbed a policeman at a protest rally, and then he tries to kind of make amends later. This is supposed to be a really strong film. I think you can get this on YouTube and a few other spots. So this is one I might just make a whole video on the channel at some point if it ends up being something I really get into. We'll see. I love stuff like that. That just sounds really sincere. I got a Criterion copy of The Last Metro in the mail with the Criterion Cell. Check out my stream about that if you haven't. And what's another one? Blast of Silence. Maybe everybody hasn't heard of this one. A hired killer from Cleveland has a job to do on a second string mob boss in New York. But a girl from his past and a fat gun dealer with pet rats gets in his way. This looks really fun to me. Blast of Silence with pet rats. I mean, that just sounds great. Got another one here. What's one of the ones? I'd have Magnolia on there. Never seen Magnolia. I keep hearing good things about this movie. This is relatively recent. I wonder if this is any good. With her life crashing down around her, Linda attempts to navigate her child's mysterious illness, her absent husband, a missing person, and an increasingly hostile relationship with their therapist, Rose Byrne, Conan O'Brien, ASAP Rocky. I'm probably supposed to know who that is, but I don't. I've heard a lot of good things about this, but out of the modern ones, I don't have a whole lot of those sitting around. All right, what's another one here that's great? Like, I've got some. Let's see. Memories of Mitsuko. This looks cool. I also don't remember adding this. Combing through the belongings of his recently deceased aunt, Mitsuko, nephew Sho pieces together the crucial events that sank Mitsuko's life into a despairing tragedy. Okay, that sounds like me. Sounds like something I would like. Closely watched trains, obviously. I've tried Miss 45 before. I am willing to try it again. People have talked a lot about the 4K. I just found it like I had to turn it off at one point because I just found it like kind of tough to watch. Obviously, if you know anything about Miss 45, but that doesn't mean I won't finish it or didn't think it was good. It's just really really disturbing. Can always sometimes you're not in the mood for that. Arcane Sorcerer, shunned by his church, a seminary student takes refuge with an excommunicated priest who teaches him wizardry and black magic. That sounds cool. I don't know how I get some of this stuff on here. I did want to see this. This is more for film history than I think this is like a good movie. This is apparently like was a really scary, dangerous production with Tippi Hedren, who was also in The Birds. And she just had a thing for getting into scary productions, but no animals were harmed, but 70 members of the cast and crew were, which I know is true. Melanie Griffith follows a family who are attacked by various African animals at the secluded home of their keeper. And then just like this note of this review, it's the most reckless filmmaking they've ever seen. And then some of the animals died, and then just looked crazy to me. Have lessons for us to learn. And then go through another page here, maybe. Some stuff that caveat: a lonely drifter suffering from partial memory loss accepts a job to look after a psychologically troubled woman in an abandoned house on an isolated island. Isn't this just the lighthouse? Didn't the lighthouse just do this? And let's see. It's another hit from here. Don't have too long here, but maybe I can get through a few more. Departures is another one that people may not have heard of from Roger Ebert's Great Movies list. The cellist is laid off from his orchestra, moves in with his wife, or they move back to his hometown after where the living is cheaper. He's working as an undertaker's assistant. This looks cool. Yeah, this looks awesome. 2008. I'm not gonna watch Slither. It just looks disgusting. Destiny, Dancer in the Dark. There's some really good hits on here, but looks like I am running out of time, so maybe I do. Anyway, for those that are able to tune in or see the replay, tell me what's on your watch list. I wanted to just go through a few here because I was just kind of in the mood to talk about some movies on my watch list and see what all you are watching. So if you watch this on the replay and have some cool things on your watch list or some interesting things, let me know. Or if you've seen any of these, let me know. Tell me if I should watch them or not. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for tuning in.